This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code SOCRATES at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenro radio playlist. zenroclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, so that's funny because I was just thinking about how great this laptop is, but so you just said M4. They're dropping the M4. Please don't tell me it's super soon because I just got the M3.
No, I think it came out.
No, are you serious? Damn it. Okay, wait. MacBook Pro is like M4 Pro?
I don't know if they said MacBook Pro yet.
Okay, cool. You know what? I'm just gonna leave that in my mind as like.
But they, I will say it's this thing. So you already have M3. I think you're fine. I think what.
M3 Pro.
Sure. Okay. And what was his name? Marquez has been using M1 like since that came out. So it's like now he's seeing a reason to upgrade from an M1 to an M4.
Okay, interesting.
That there has been enough of a leap.
Yeah,
there's still been enough of a leap that makes sense for him to upgrade up. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. M1 using that one, that's crazy, bro. But I saw online when I was gonna get this new one that like the M1 original one is like it's not comparable, but it's like it does the job like relative to the M3 Pro. So it's like if you can find a refurbished one, you could save more money and then you actually just get a better deal with that laptop. The thing that sold me on the M3 Pro was the double screen because I have two screens like drilled into the wall. And if I don't have that ability to like triple monitor it, it becomes like useless, my additional screen. So that's like what the selling factor was for me. But the M4, do you know anything about it? Like, is it just like
if anything, I'm looking at Mac Mini. I never thought about thinking about a Mac Mini, but Mac Mini makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay, I got the email for that, but but it looked like not like a laptop, it was like the little square box.
Yeah,
right?
It looks like an Apple TV box, and it's just you connect monitors, and you can have 3 monitors max.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's like a desktop thing, but that's the tower. That's the tower, right?
Yeah, totally.
So it's just like I don't really bring it around. So it's just like having a pretty reasonable. Like I think they were saying it's like one of the best price wise, just to have a Mac. If you're having to have a Mac,
yeah, totally. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but just like all right, for my purposes, like even I bought that the MacBook Pro. Actually, we were in the airport, and then I had to take out my laptop during security, and Tara was like, "Oh, your laptop's so small." I was like, "Yeah, I literally bought it for travel." You know, but you don't even notice it because my work laptop's about the same size. So I've been using that. And then I have these giant monitors here, not giant, but like bigger monitors. Mm-hmm. So I'm not like really focused on it. But like if you can't bring around, because you need a monitor for that Mac Mini. I mean, it's attractive, but I just don't see the travel case for it. You're right. Like if you're stationary, like your setup, then it makes sense. But I don't know. I just haven't been sold with like non-desktop-y stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like don't you want to bring your laptop around? I guess you have your iPad, so you
it would be the iPad. Yeah, I prefer taking around the iPad than a laptop.
Yeah, yeah. Facts. That's true. And you don't really edit any videos anyways, so it's like it doesn't make sense for you. Yeah, it's so weird how when you think about like the types of people that use laptops, it's like so varied. you have one that because like my dad, like what? My dad, yeah, I get why you need a spreadsheet, but like my mom, it's like you don't really need a laptop, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got her the iPad, but it was such a weird. We talked about this before, where it's like
Yeah.
goodbye laptop with that commercial that they made,
Sure.
you know,
That was a long
and
time
it's
ago,
like,
but yeah.
yeah. But it's so true though. It's like not everyone needs a full functioning laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just need an iPad,
Mm-hmm.
but you never think that an iPad is as a viable like digital device. Yeah, that's cool. All right, so I don't feel as bad now that the M4 is
Yeah, I
out.
just
'Cause
wanted to tell
remember
you
we were
that.
like, should I wait? Should I not wait? But then my thing did crap out on me, so I was like, oh, I should just get it. Yeah.
But I don't, like it's not like a big jump between M3 Pro and an M4. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
The upgrade probably won't happen in like 4 or 5 years.
Okay, perfect. All right, cool. Yeah, all right, that's not so bad. And it would have to be substantial for me to be like, yeah, I want to upgrade because my functionality, the things I use my laptop for, like my old one, like the editing for this has become so fast. So it's great. Like rendering this podcast and like doing video edits. Usually it takes like maybe 2 hours. So that takes so long. And then like having all the tabs open in order to like watch things simultaneously as I'm editing, that was like really killing my old laptop. But I feel like the speed with which everything's moving is at a reasonable pace that like I couldn't see the point in upgrade unless it was like insanely fast, you know. So I guess that's why you need like the 4 or 5 year jump before upgrading.
Just seeing a difference.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, totally like Marquez. Okay, before we jump into the topics, I had like too much melatonin last night right before bed. So now I'm just gonna grab my energy drink. I was like, maybe this coffee will be enough, but I'm like, no, I'm like crashing. All right, one second. Shout out to what is this? Alani? Sure. It's the Costco energy drink that's supposed to be healthier. But you know what? Caffeine's caffeine. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, bro. Like you're like, oh, I need the energy, but then you like, I spike my blood pressure. So it's like that weird balance of like, maybe I should just do Coke. I'm just saying, like, never tried it. But you know, those people that are like, they're like, yeah, I should do Coke and I can stay up all night. I'm like, I get that. Sometimes you just want to keep working, you know, and like your brain's firing. So, but anyways, so okay, this week, it was this week. Yeah, this past week, we saw one of the craziest comeback stories of all time. I didn't think it was going to be such a victory. I thought it was going to be pretty close. I thought it was going to be like a couple of those days, you know, like of Trump winning. Obviously, that's what we're talking about. And I thought it was going to be like when he first won, and then you're like going back and forth, like who's going to win? Who's going to, you know? And then he ended up winning. Oh my god, it's crazy. But like he won the popular vote plus the main vote or something.
It's called electoral. He has to win the electoral college vote. So,
but he also won the popular vote.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty crazy. And so with the last week's podcast, you had made a point about the abortion Roe v. Wade and then women going out to vote.
I'll add to that too because I didn't know something else that was there. So in the States, I guess you can in each
about why she lost.
Yeah. So there's another thing I can add to that. So in the state, you can. Some states had some of those ballots where you can actually vote on certain things, you know, like abortion things or some things like that. There are certain things you can vote on specifically, right?
Like topics, yeah.
Totally. So like, but like for instance, Florida, it didn't pass there, but you could still pick it and then pick something else. Pick someone else as president. So you can still pick abortion.
Oh, interesting.
But you can decide someone else as president and senator, like whatever's up in their state, right? So, but it didn't pass in Florida. They needed 60% and it got like 57%.
Okay.
But there was like, you know what I mean? It's like people can still vote on it. But you can also pick something else, right? So it's
totally. So
those are the options. So I didn't know like some states have those things. So some areas that did pass, but they still have a Republican as a senator and choosing as a president as well. So it's like it's a very optional, like you know what I mean? It's not like totally. Just picking that person would cause the change. Yeah.
So that's how they got around it. It's like they voted for the issue that they cared about while voting for the president that they wanted. Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Versus like you thought it was whatever the president is, that's the policy.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
each state has something different. So sometimes, depending on what those things are, you have to know what's in your own district to be able to vote on.
Okay, yeah, that totally makes sense. Um, okay, yeah, that makes sense. The reason why I was thinking that Trump was going to win was because even I felt a little bit of a pull towards that direction. Remember, I was like saying, I listened to Trump on the podcast, like, he wasn't saying anything. And then, I still haven't listened to Kamala Harris, but whatever. You see that thing where she spent like $500,000 getting that podcast spot, and then Trump's spot on Joe Rogan was free. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so with like JD Vance and like listening to him, it was so logical that you're like, of course, I would agree with this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other things that they were talking about, and like Elon Musk, then I'm listening to that podcast now, and he was saying logical things. You and I would 100% agree with the logic that's behind a lot of these things, right? And it wasn't until I think his name's Michael Schellenberger. I think I sent it to you guys, but I was like, this is the best take of what I've seen and like why Trump won. It's not that they agree with Trump, it's that they're just so tired of the left's antics. And that's also what Bernie
I'll agree with that.
Right? No, but that was crazy. So it's like, and Bernie said that too, right? When I saw Bernie's response, I was like, oh, dude, that's because like Bernie, you know? It's like Bernie, go Bernie. And he was like, it just shows how far you've lost your way to the Democratic Party, you know? And then when Michael Schellenberger was talking about it, he's like, I'm a leftist, but I voted right because of the policies that the left have been doing. And he's like, nothing was more evident of this totalitarian governance than COVID. And I was like, right, I forgot all about that. Like,
but it wasn't. But the thing is, it wasn't. That was Trump, though.
What do you mean? Like the down, not during COVID, but like the policing. Remember when I wrote that thing? Like during that time, it was like everything was so guarded. I sent it to you guys about that post where it's like I just used the caption that was being sent around, and then it blocked me for like inappropriate. I was like, dude, it was a Dragon Ball Z video, but I used that caption because it was like, oh, it's relative to Dragon Ball Z, but they had somehow like AI'd it where if you see that string of words, like take down that post. And I was like, what? What's going on? And then like videos were just getting put on as like COVID warning, this might be misinformation. And then we're getting that more and more. You know, it's like a policing of our thoughts, which is 1984, and which is what all the Republicans were saying, which is like, it looks like the left is moving towards 1984 totalitarian mind control. You know, if you haven't read 1984, it's like the thought police, and then what they do is they manage what you can say so that your mind is like 2 + 2 = 5 or something like that. It was like some example in a book, which is like so obvious, but they were making it so that people would believe in these like falsehoods. And that's what was going around with like the Republicans that I was seeing. And I was like, yeah, I do get your point. Like everyone I was watching on like Trump's side, I get your point as to why you'd want to stop this. Even I would want to stop it because I was like victim of it too. Like during the COVID time, if you said like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be getting the vaccine, it's pretty early. But the rhetoric was like, no, everyone should get the vaccine. And then like, remember, all right, no, here's the biggest click for me. And you can go back to the podcast. Like during that time, I was pro-vaccine. Remember, I was like, you need to save your neighbor, and like by getting this vaccine, then you can protect others. Remember that? And then it turned out, oh, that's actually fake. Like you actually don't protect anyone, you protect yourself. And I was like, oh, wait, we're being marketed to.
Right.
And that's when I started to see like, oh, some weirdness is going on. And then it just started to keep moving in that direction. And I feel like that's when the left, the logical left, they move towards the right. And that was Michael Schellenberger's point. Would you agree? Would you agree that that's why Trump won? That it was like the people that he pulled over to the left, we don't actually agree with Trump. We're just like, ooh, it's looking a little weird in that direction.
I'm not sure because I think the vote amount that he got was the same as last time.
Oh, what do you mean?
So the total votes were like similar to the same thing as 2020.
But what I'm saying is that a lot of the people that are quote unquote left, like Michael Schellenberg is like, I'm like traditionally left. Same with Joe Rogan, like I'm traditionally left. Mm-hmm. But like it's just getting weird. Even Elon Musk, he's like, I'm traditionally left. Mm-hmm. Like when Joe Rogan brought this up too, he's like, when you had a Tesla back in the day, you were like, oh, I'm a signal, like virtue signaling to people, like, sure. Hey man, I have a Tesla. I care about the environment. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't say that Elon Musk is right wing. His whole product line is based off of like liberal thinking. Like, hey, mm-hmm. we're just gonna get off grid. You know what I'm saying? So like to now have those people support the right, you're like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. And I think Bernie put it really well. And same with Michael Schellenberger, which is like, it's not that we agree with you. It's more like the left is so far that we're like, ooh, we need to correct course. And sure, I think that's why the logical left's moving in that direction. You disagree?
I don't think that the Democratic Party is that left. I think that the fear of that left was what was
exactly
being understood.
No.
But I don't think the Democratic Party is that left.
Right. But okay. You're saying that, but the rhetoric that they're putting out is kind of extremist. Remember when Trump said, Trudeau said, anybody that doesn't get the vaccine is a misogynist and a racist? There's videos of it online.
Sure. Okay, I don't know.
And I was like, no, it came out during COVID. I brought this up so many times.
Yeah. Like, but that's not what, but he wasn't, I don't, but the US, it's not, it was Trump that was in office. Trump was the one who got the vaccines done.
Right. And it's like, because it's logical. No, because it's logical. It's like, of course, like Elon Musk is like, I don't disagree with the vaccine. Mm-hmm. It's the rhetoric that's being pushed about like, hey, we need to be super inclusive. Hey, we need to be like, oh, we're mm-hmm. not even thinking at this point. Like it's not that it's the centrist viewpoint that I think that the left is looking for. Like, that's how I feel. Because mm-hmm. when I heard JD Vance, I was like, dude, I totally agree with you. But then it's like, but then that makes me right wing. I've been saying this for a long time too. Everything that's logical is suddenly right wing. I'm like, how's that right wing? It just makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, America is the one of two countries that doesn't need voter ID. When I heard that, I was like, why would you just encourage cheating? Like Joe Rogan said, I'm like, in Canada, you do that. Like, if I came up and I'm like, hey, I'm just going to vote.
Well, I don't know. What do you mean by no voter ID?
Allegedly, you can just like go vote.
No. What?
That's what they're saying.
No.
What? So you need a vote. You need.
Yeah, of course you need some ID.
No, wait. No. Google it right now. Yeah, that's the rhetoric that they're all saying.
Do we have a voter ID here?
We have a voter ID here.
What do we have?
My driver's license.
You can vote without a driver's license.
Here?
Yes.
Okay. Wait.
Not everybody has a driver's license.
So, okay, wait. So what you're saying is that they're blatantly lying about saying that you don't need voter ID.
Yeah, you need something that says your name. I worked at one, right? At one of those things.
In Canada, I'm saying America.
Yeah. Of course you need some kind of thing to prove that you are that person. You can't just go and vote that. Yeah.
So you're saying Elon Musk is a liar. Because that's what he was saying. That's what everyone was saying. And I'm like, wait, that sounds illogical.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Google it right now. Let's Google it right now. Because it doesn't make sense. But if it's true, then you're going to be like, wait, that makes no sense.
You have to understand, okay, there's different things. Now, when you're saying that, do all people have IDs? Do Amish people have IDs? So there has to be a way for them to be able to vote, correct?
That's what I'm saying. Right. Because so in that district.
Yeah, right? Like but there's ways to recognize some people without an ID. You don't need a driver's license. People can vote here without a driver's license.
Google it. No, because I'm like, bro. So now we're just uncovering the psyop. Like Elon Musk straight up lying. Because remember they did that during. If you watch Wild Wild Country, they brought that up, which is like they would fly in homeless people. Remember that documentary, and they would like move them to a specific state so that they could vote. on like a liberal behalf.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's weird. But you're not even from this area. Waiting.
So there's different things. So find out if you need to bring an ID to vote.
No, just Google like, do you need voter ID in America? Do you need
ID to vote? This is us.gov. USA.gov.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool.
Voter ID requirements. Each state sets its own voter ID rules, and most require voters to bring identification to vote in person. Know the voter ID laws in your state before going to the polls.
Okay, so like it said, it's state by state. So there are states where you don't need voter ID? Question mark?
No, it's saying know what your voter ID laws are in that state.
I understand that, but that opens the fact that other states might not require voter ID.
No,
what
you need to
it literally says
know the voter ID laws.
Wait, are you talking really close to the mic right now?
Oh, sorry. Know the voter ID laws.
Okay. Yeah, right. Know the voter ID laws.
Yeah.
But it's state by state. You just read it.
Yeah. It doesn't say no voter ID.
Right. I'm saying know the laws in your state. So are there states that don't require voter ID?
So here.
It's a logical next step. Okay. Are there states that don't require voter ID? So if there are.
Okay, here. I'll read the next, find out if you need to bring ID to vote, and then I'll go to procedures for voting without ID. Even if you don't have a form of ID, you can do that here. Even if you don't have a form of ID that state asks for, you may be able to vote. Some states may ask you to sign a form affirming your identity. Find out if you can vote in your state without ID, and if that information may need to provide when you vote. Other states will cast a provisional ballot. States use provisional ballots when there is a question about voters' eligibility. They keep your provisional ballot separate until they investigate your eligibility. You may have to return to show an acceptable form of ID within a few days, or the ballot will not count.
Right. So then what is the actual looking into? Like you said, you have to sign a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what is the piece? Is it just like, hey, I'm John Smith? I affirm that I'm John Smith.
So when you in the States, I believe you have to sign up to register to vote.
Okay.
So when you're signing up, register vote.
Google that first. Like, do you have to sign up to vote?
Voter registration in the United States. It's in Wikipedia.
Okay. And every state needs voter registration?
All U.S. states and territories except North Dakota require voter registration by eligible citizens before they can vote in federal, state, or local elections.
Okay. So then you're saying that Elon Musk is a liar?
Yeah. That's lying.
Wow, that's crazy, bro.
I just read the first line from the Wikipedia. All U.S. states and territories except North Dakota require voter registration by eligible citizens before they can vote in federal, state, or local elections.
Dude, that is crazy. You just straight up lied. What's going on, man? There's a psyop going on. Now I'm just like, wait, who do we trust?
Am I correct in what I'm saying?
I guess, yeah. If you have to register and show that you're an eligible citizen to vote, then you would just vote.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could vote.
Yeah.
It's not that just anybody can just vote just because you're in the look. But see, that's
it depends how you use that phrase. It depends how he's using that phrase. So as I said, anybody
can just come in.
Yeah, but then it's also, if you don't have an ID and vote, your ballot is set aside as a provisional ballot until proven that you are. Totally. So that's also like is he saying that anybody can vote? But that also means there's provisional ballots. Yeah.
Okay, what's going on, guys? All right, so now who do we believe? So
like here, it's the same kind of thing, right? Like you.
No, yeah, totally.
Here is different ruling, right? Sure. That's the United States.
Sure. But what I'm saying is like, okay, so now it turns out that you do need proper registration to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So then if millions of people are listening to this and you're just saying, because I'm like, I'm not American, I don't really know. You said that it's like anybody could vote at any time. So then you could just have like illegal immigrants coming in to vote.
So okay, to give him the benefit of the doubt, I can go and vote, but then my thing is set aside as provisional ballot because I didn't have an ID. Totally. So if I can't prove it, that ballot is thrown out.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Right. But like, so
he's not adding that extra step. He's just he's stopping at that point where where that fear is that anybody can vote.
Bro, that's some Lex Luthor type stuff, bro. Because it's like, you know how he's like, oh, I'm so against AI, and then you're making AI. Oh, I'm so against robots taking over. Now you're making a fleet of robots. Bro, are you Lex Luthor? Or are you Tony Stark?
Who knows?
No, because now I'm like, whoa, that's weird, bro. Because when I heard, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Of course you'd want voter ID. And then you're like, yeah, you have a provisional ballot until we could prove that it's real, and then we'll count your vote. Interesting. Okay.
They even had, I remember because young people, they don't sign, right? They just initialize or whatever, right? They had an issue with a lot of ballots that the signature wasn't matching based on the records. They were trying to call them to find out if it was them or like somebody trying to identify them. Because if they can't identify that, can't confirm the signatures, that ballot is thrown out.
Okay, interesting. All right, we're getting really excited here. Can you just check to make sure that we're
it was okay.
All right, cool. Because my headphones, I turned it up. I'm like, I don't know if it's like too loud. But okay. So what this shows me now is this is an even greater psyop than what I thought. So wow, we just figured it out on the podcast. It's like super simple Googling. Why don't we just Google? But like, okay, so check this out.
Because I remember seeing register to vote. Make sure you register to vote before you can't vote without being registered.
Right. But check this out. The reason why everyone, and this is why I was like, oh, I feel like he's gonna win, is he was making the podcast rounds. Who listens to podcasts? Who listen to podcasts? Like young people, right? So like, in this, you're shaping a lot of people's brains.
Yeah.
Because we all listen to this stuff. Like you had Logan Paul, Joe Rogan, Patrick, Bet David, Lex Friedman, and you're like, these are prominent people. Yeah.
But there was a lot of misinformation, and people believe the misinformation.
Right, because it can't be checked in that real time. Just like I was saying, well, freaking why would Elon Musk lie? And it's like, you didn't lie, you just didn't finish your sentence, or like you didn't like complete the thought.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you're using fear to make people vote, right? You're making that was the distinction there by not continuing that sentence, completing it. If all people have to register. If you said that, and they have to get checked, like there's so much more information I had to just look up, to say to make sense.
Right? But then okay. But then think about the other rhetoric, like RFK Jr., which is like, make America healthy again. It's like, who wouldn't want that rhetoric? So is Trump just the master of marketing?
Oh yeah, he's good at that, of course.
Like he went through the podcast rounds. He just got RFK Jr. because we all know young people want a RFK Jr. He's all about UFOs too. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I was gonna say it before, regardless, but now I'm like, oh, it actually makes even more sense about what I'm about to say. I think that this is a prime example of the West or America's system being fully broken, and they're just trying to correct course. Like before, I thought it was like, okay, the left is going too far, and like that's why we're going towards the right, and we were trying to correct course. But like now it's like even the right was lying. So it's like both sides are lying. This is just showing you the downfall of an entire civilization due to the fact that it's just misinformation being like spread.
I don't think it's the same misinformation on the other side.
Okay, but what about like people going against people who are like anti-vax or just didn't get the vaccine? Like during the COVID times, that for me was like, oh, that's interesting. Or you can like shut everything down, even though they're like, okay, logically speaking, like, you know what I mean? It's like you're moving so quickly with measures and then you hadn't fully thought them through and it felt more totalitarian versus like measured. Cause you're like, remember I was like, oh, I'm so pro vaccine because I want to protect my parents. And it's like, you're actually protecting yourself, not your parents, you know? And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, wait. But if you said that, then people would just be more willing to go outside or um, or like shutting everything down. It's like, did we really need to shut everything down?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one example that Michael Schellenberger brought up was like the Black Lives Matter movement. It's like, all right, nobody go outside. But then the Black Lives Matter, everyone's like, remember during that time we were both like, oh, that's going to be a COVID spreader. You're going to get COVID everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like those two paradoxical moments are what make you feel like we're being lied to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like one thing's okay, but one thing's not okay. Well, what are you searching up?
No, because I remember, like, just talking about COVID, per capita wise, US had pretty high number of deaths compared to us.
Okay.
Because he reacted slowly.
Who did?
Trump did.
America?
Yeah.
About shutting things down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but also though, COVID was relative to your health. So like if we know that obesity is huge in America,
Mm-hmm.
of course they're going to die. You know, healthcare is also not that great there, and you have to pay for it. Of course they're going to die.
Yeah,
So it's like you have to take in these factors. It's like when you say like, oh, more deaths, it's like, yeah, but look at the people too.
Yeah, but that's up again. That's the decision of the president, or to restrict.
No, but what I'm saying is like that's
to protect
to oranges.
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
he's supposed to protect the citizens, right? That's the rule.
For sure.
Yeah,
What I'm saying is like that you can't compare that metric because not everything's the same. You know, like the way they live their lives, the way we live our lives, completely different.
Sure. But
so like, and COVID was like a physical ailment disease. Like people who were healthy were not dying of COVID. Like I don't know anybody who was healthy that died of COVID. And you know what was the craziest part too? When see like, all right, here are all the things, and this is what made me go like, what's going on here? But then now I'm even more like, what's going on here? Because Elon Musk just fully lied. During COVID, during the beginning, when it was going around, like, oh my god, people are gonna die, and my not great grandma, but like she's like twice removed or something. She's super old, and then she got COVID. I was like, oh dude, she's gonna die. You know, it's crazy. And then she like survived, and you're like, that's weird, because like you're super old. And then they painted this out as like a disease where people are just going to die willy-nilly, you know? And then like even with the ventilator stuff, and they're putting people on ventilators and like, oh, they're dying on ventilators. And my mom was like, well, if you start letting a machine breathe for you, your body forgets how to breathe. So of course you're going to die. And like a lot of doctors and nurses knew that, so they were saying this. So it's like, okay, what is the information? Like, what is the real information? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, I guess maybe it's like too much information. You don't know how to sift through it.
Sure, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what are you?
No, I'm just gonna say
compiling there.
No, I'm just looking at. I couldn't find it, but registering to vote on the day of. Is there anything like that?
Okay. Like to give more credence to Elon Musk's argument.
Yeah, just seeing if there's anything there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because now I'm like, bro, are you Lex Luthor? What's going on? It is a little weird that everything that he's against, he's doing.
Yeah, but also like it helps him with. I think it's taxes. I really
no. I mean like
for the other side.
AI. No, I mean with like the AI.
Yeah, okay.
Like you hate AI, but you're making an AI program. You're also one of the founders of ChatGPT, bro. What are we talking about here?
I can't find anything on the day of. It's just saying register to vote. Voter registration deadlines vary by state and territory, so they have deadlines. Even he was saying that though. Pennsylvania. Yeah, he was. I remember on Twitter. Oh, register to vote. Today's the last day to register to vote.
Right. But what he was saying on Joe Rogan was like people can just like come up and vote, so you don't even know who's
No,
voting.
I know, but I'm saying like that doesn't match what he was just saying on Twitter when he was like giving out that $1 million to get people to register to vote.
Right. So what I'm saying is like, are you?
So does he know it? Then maybe he knows it. Then he's actually like misleading.
Yeah, so it's like, is this a crazy psyop game that we're playing with people who like? It's like
did he say a state? Because each state's got some different rules. So what state was he talking about?
But are we so messy in this search for truth that like we are like Western civilization's kind of broken?
Mm-hmm.
Or like America, because I wouldn't say like Canada yet. Like we're not doing great. Although it is kind of weird. It is kind of weird that we don't get the news on social media. That's weird for me. Like the Meta app.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
Like that's kind of weird. Like just pay it, man. Like, come on. You know, he's like trying to
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the stuff I wouldn't have known, and I don't even use X that much. So like, because Elon was like, X is the #1 news platform in America. Like, obviously, because it's the only social media app that allows news, right? But like, if you want to make it fair, most of us are on Instagram. Like, I'd rather just get my news on Instagram. Who uses X anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, what are you searching?
No, I'm just saying if you can. Some people's places you can register there, but you have to have a social security number and all those sort of things. If you're registering
so that's logical. So you just straight up lied.
I just looked at California. Yeah. You got to look at each state. Each state has different rules. So again.
Oh, so look, California's like super liberal, like.
Yeah. So where is the issue that's going to be the problem? Where is he saying is going to be the issue? Which state?
I don't know. He was just saying in America we're the only country that doesn't.
Then that's a lie. Then that's wrong. Because if he's not identifying a state, then that's wrong.
See, that's crazy to me. And I'm like, you guys have a huge voice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, check this out.
That's too big of a blanket statement. If he said a state, that would have been so much.
For sure. No, I'm 100%. I agree with you. But now think about this. Is Dr. Stephen Greer the most honest person out here? No, for real though. So he's saying, okay, all right, so you and I are like, dude, this is so messy. Everyone's lying. What are you doing? Right?
Sure.
I love that I'm bringing it back to UAPs. So Dr. Stephen Greer is like, there's legacy mainstream media and people who are sellouts, like Joe Rogan's a sellout. And I'm like, well, what do you mean, bro? Because like he's like, in order to get the Spotify deal, he had to take certain episodes off. So to get the $100 million, he had to take some episodes down. And one of the episodes was Stephen Greer's episode. So you could still find the episode online.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get the $100 million, you have to take down his episode. You're like, why? Why his episode? And why hasn't anybody put Stephen Greer on the mainstream media? Because Stephen Greer is saying that there is a cabal of people that are keeping this money in power of others in order to like keep the rich and the poor.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this is a great example because Stephen Greer is like, oh, the Tesla doesn't, the Tesla, Elon Musk Tesla doesn't operate like a real Tesla because it's still being powered by coal, you know? And like, why are we doing these reverse engine thrusters for Elon Musk if we already know how to reverse engineer gravity and then like make these new ships? So what Stephen Greer is saying is that there are people in positions of power and they're being paid off by the oligarchs, like the oil industry owners, in order to keep the status quo.
Right.
Is that real? Because now I'm like, bro, we just figured out a psyop, and I'm like, Stephen Greer's the only one that's saying that. That like, dude, this is a psyop. Everything you're seeing is a lie. And I'm like, is it a goddamn lie, bro? Because that's kind of weird that Elon Musk was saying that, and even I believe in it. Again, it's like, But maybe that's what makes me a great marketer. I fall for the marketing, and then when you and I reverse engineer it, we're like, this is kind of a lie. Hold on, and then you like figure out how you got caught in the lie.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like everything I'm seeing is kind of like. So, all right, what Stephen Greer is saying is this: the reason why they're coming out with UAP stuff now, like you see Lou Elizondo, his book, Jeremy Corbell, they're having another hearing next week. I think Stephen Greer is a part of that hearing. Like he really does believe that you can change things through the government, but he's saying that there's two camps working here, and they're both fighting for disclosure. But Stephen Greer is fighting for disclosure to the point that we have universal energy and we have peace on Earth, a utopia.
Sure.
Right. Whereas Lou Elizondo is fighting for disclosure, but delayed enough so that they can create patents towards these products. And then by the time the disclosure fully reveals itself, well, we already have patents, so we own this gravitational technology. So what? Oh yeah.
Okay. No. I heard some other thing about Lou Elizondo. As you said that he's still part of the FBI or whatever.
Yeah, CIA. Yeah.
Or CIA. That this is still like their mission.
Project. This is still their project.
CIA project. Yeah. But he's doing it
for them. Yeah, he's
still a spy.
Yeah. What do you call that? He's a disinformation agent.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been saying that too.
Yeah.
So it's like, and like that's why Stephen Greer is like, I don't want to sign any NDAs because if I do that, then I can't tell people what's really happening. Whereas Lou Elizondo, he signed NDAs, he can't say certain things, so he's painting himself to be. But remember this: there's, dude, this is so crazy. Honestly, I would if I get assassinated or something, they're like, come out of these bodies and be like, hey, this guy's telling too many people about this, right? Not that I'll think I'll get assassinated, but you never know. So Lou Elizondo was a part of Gray Fox. So I heard this in passing. So there's a dude, Michael. I forgot what his name is. American Alchemy. That dude, Jesse Michaels. So he did a whole video of Lou Elizondo, and then one thing that stuck out to me was Gray Fox because I was like, oh, that's a Metal Gear Solid term, remember? Right? Yeah. And what is Gray Fox's job? They go into the battlefield before anyone gets there to set the battlefield up so that when Delta Force arrives, they can come in and manage things. Right. So like they send in this small covert unit, literally Metal Gear Solid the video game, in order to set pieces in place so that when like Delta Force, like the Navy SEALs, they actually come in, they're able to like win the battle because everything's been already set up, right? Now take that into what you just said, which is he's still under contract by CIA. Is he prepping the battlefield of this PSYOP?
Possible, yeah.
Right? Until the point when they figure out, hey, we've gotten all these patents. All right, tell people that it's gravitational propulsion technology. Like, all right, cool, man. We're gonna make our own gravitational cars. Hold up, we own the patents for those gravitational cars. So what Stephen Greer is saying is that they know cat's out of the bag. We know that UFOs are real. But now what you need to do is how do you capitalize on the new resource that's about to come? So it's not going to be oil and gas anymore. It's going to be gravity propulsion. But who owns gravity propulsion? That's the real question. That's literally what Stephen Greer's been saying. And now, as we're having this conversation, I'm like, bro, it might be true. Simply because we proved that Elon Musk was lying. And you saw how I was like, oh, man, I'm telling how you're telling he's a liar? He's a liar? Elon Musk's a liar. Maybe he is Elon. Maybe he is Lex Luthor, though. Not Tony Stark.
Right.
Now I'm scared.
Or
what do you think?
There's another line.
What?
No, we're all, long enough, they all turn bad, like kind of thing. Like,
oh yeah, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah.
Because he started off great, but then he knows certain things. Because like he is saying, I have no evidence of UFOs, bro. You have satellites everywhere. What are you talking about? And I really believe, and it's in line with what Stephen Greer is saying, which is he's like, all of these are ours. Everything you're seeing, these UAPs, like sure, there are some like ETVs, extraterrestrial vehicles, but all of them are, I forgot the term, like, basically it's just reverse engineered extraterrestrial vehicles. And it's like, if you think about it, just let's think about it logically. In 2007 or something, 2003, the Tic Tac incident, right? The fighter jets saw a Tic Tac.
Mm-hmm.
They went in a combat formation with the Tic Tac. They were like having a battle, right? One, how do you know what a combat formation is if you're from a different planet?
Right. Okay.
Right. Like, how do we answer that question?
Yeah. Sure.
I don't know. Like, you wouldn't have the context of battle
Mm-hmm.
formation if you're on a new planet. Okay. And then they said that all of a sudden the Tic Tac disappeared. And then when they flew back to their cap point, which is a secret rallying point where they're going to meet up after the mission, the Tic Tac was already there. So how do you, if you're an off-world species, know what a cat point is?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you understand battle formations and what cat points are, and you're from this planet. Mm-hmm. So this reverse engineered Tic Tac understands the rules of the game.
Right.
That's logical, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now take into this piece. When the 2000, whatever the Tic Tac incident, 2000 something, Stephen Greer's like, I went through my catalogs and I found an old photo of the Tic Tac. That's ours.
Mm-hmm.
It's making sense, bro.
Sure, yeah.
But then you have fighter pilots that are like, I have no idea what this is because they don't know what it is.
But again, it's like
Beyond Black.
It's need to know. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a Beyond Black project.
Sure.
Right? So then, so then those pieces in place, it's like you have the story of those whistleblowers. Remember I told you like they found these people in was it Malaysia or something? Mm-hmm. They stumbled across it, and then you were saying like, oh, the unit said that actually didn't happen. Michael something.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right.
So they found like, right?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I encountered these like army individuals. Mm-hmm. It's literally the last podcast. If you wanna, if you're listening to it, you're like, what are you guys talking about? Last podcast. So that already logically makes sense to me. I'm like, actually, that makes sense. And then you telling me that they're trying to patent things before they release it worldwide to the public so that people who patent it get to make money. That makes sense to me too. Mm-hmm. We found the TR3B patent on Google. If you just Google TR3B, you're like, yeah, there's a patent for gravity propulsion triangle technology, which is what links up to what we see, and we call it a UFO. Mm-hmm. Here's another one. Ryan Graves is another whistleblower who's like, he's a fighter pilot as well. And he's the one who saw, I don't know if it's the gimbal, but he started a podcast called Merged. Okay. And what that was they took all of these aeronautics people who've been seeing these UAPs around, right? So he said that every day they would do these combat formations as practice, and these like spherical orbs. Like, remember I told you translucent circle and then there's a square inside, mm-hmm. right? And then they're all over the place. There's like hundreds of them around the training facility. And he's like, what are these? We're going to hit them. Well, if they're all over a training facility, wouldn't you suspect that they're your products that are Beyond Black? And then he's like, well, I'm reporting it to my seniors, and the seniors are just telling me to ignore it. Probably because the seniors know it's Beyond Black projects. And they're like, you're just a fighter pilot, bro. You don't need to know what this is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of need to know. I'll agree with there's a lot of need to know, of course. Yeah.
Okay. You know what's crazy? They took down Ryan Gray's podcast on Spotify. I went back to go listen to it, and it's gone. And I was like, well, that's weird. Mm-hmm. And I think it's only on YouTube, but it's a little weird that that's gone. Mm-hmm. What's going on here? Bro, maybe Stephen Greer is the only one who's correct.
Maybe.
Right? Like, logically speaking, because I'm like,
but it's very weird that he's blacklisted from anywhere.
But why isn't anyone talking about him?
I don't know.
But all these celebrities,
but like it's both sides. I'm talking about both sides. Like, of course, the sides that doesn't care about UFOs, sure. But like within the UFO side, like all of a sudden he's hated.
Yeah.
That's all I see on Reddit.
Right? And he said that they're going to smear campaign me because I'm the only one telling the truth. And I'm like, are they? Dude, it kind of seems like if you just
like,
watch it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but then they both are saying that he's a disinformation agent. They're both.
Who?
Aren't they like? Why aren't they talking to him?
No. So Lou Elizondo is saying that he's crazy.
Okay.
Doesn't know what he's talking about. And then Stephen Greer's like, yeah, well, because Lou's a disinformation agent.
Okay.
Right? So Tom DeLonge, this is crazy. So Tom DeLonge, he spent time with Stephen Greer to learn about all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Tom DeLonge started hanging out with the CIA people. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen Greer has said, like, yeah, he used to spend time in my house. I'd explain all this stuff to him. And then all of a sudden, he got co-opted because he's such a naive mind. He got co-opted by this psyop that they're playing, and they're using him as a patsy to get UFOs out to the world.
But Tom DeLonge mentioned his name before?
Blink 182.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he did, but he did it like, it's like, we will never speak about this. He's like, it's weird. No, because I went through all of Tom's podcasts, and then like somebody just blatantly asked him, I think it was the Theories of Everything. Somebody finally blatantly asked him about, well, what do you know about Stephen Greer? He's like, I can just say that I would be wary if I would look into, that's all he said. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And then Stephen Greer's like, well, I hung out with Tom DeLonge all the time, blah, blah, blah. I showed him everything. And then Tom will like admit to it, but he won't like admit to it. He'll be like, yeah, I hung out with a lot of people in the UFO space in the beginning. And then like, I went camping and did this meditation in the forest, but he didn't say it was Stephen Greer. But that's Stephen Greer's program, where you like meditate in the forest and you call these UFOs to you. It's called the CE5 app and stuff. But like, it's kind of weird that Tom DeLonge is like, I feel like he's being played, but he's also just a pop star. Like he's a like punk rocker. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think all he cares about is like admitting to the world that they're UFOs. But what Tom has said is like, there's a huge story here that's scarier than we can imagine. And it's like, people are battling for something. But I feel like Tom's like an objective. He's like, I'm just going to tell you that there's a battle. And then it's like, is it Lou versus Greer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think? It's logical, right?
I think that if there is something, I think the CIA would be involved in trying to control the story.
Right? And who's contracted by the CIA? Lou Elizondo.
Mm-hmm.
And Lou Elizondo's
like
making
some... Yeah, like as you said, right? They approved his story.
Book.
Book.
Yeah.
So,
but then he was like, yeah, but they didn't approve everything, and like it had to go through like a vetting process. I'm like, was it a vetting process, or were we strategically building out this book to make people know certain things?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
removing
it's
things.
A little weird.
This makes sense to add here. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, it's kind of creepy when you think.
But
about
I mean,
it.
like, if he's still, again, as you said, he's still part of the CIA. There's a likelihood that he's still.
And he was a part of Gray Fox.
For them, so.
I think the thing that really was like smoking gun for me was Gray Fox.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small unit that goes in to prep the battlefield. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think, what's his name? Jesse Michaels. I don't even think he just said it, unless he was putting like a nugget in there for people to like go down the rabbit hole because he couldn't admit it. But like him putting that, this is the first time I ever heard of Gray Fox. And then I had to Google it and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy, blah, 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 right? And like, was Jesse Michaels trying to tell us the truth about what's really happening?
Right.
Without telling us directly about what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because like Lou Elizondo is like making some crazy rounds right now, just like Trump was.
Mm-hmm.
Like Trump was making some crazy podcast rounds, and Lou Elizondo was just on Diary of a CEO, which is like, it has nothing to do with UFOs. And then you remember Blossom back in the day?
Blossom the
TV show?
No.
Okay, there was a famous TV show in the 90s called Blossom, and she became like an actual doctor, like PhD and like whatever. And she has a huge podcast right now. He was just on that podcast, Lou Elizondo. And I'm like, why are you going after people? Like, I guess it's sort of like.
But he was he was in a lot of the mainstream, right? Wasn't he even on
exactly Jimmy Kimmel
or the Jon Stewart thing, that show, exactly. Daily Show,
with Ronnie Chang,
right?
And it's like, but this is
an approved narrative,
exactly, exactly, bro. And like, we're gonna put you in front of the mainstream public, and you're going to slowly assimilate them to the idea of UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's cats out of the bag. Like, you cannot hide this anymore.
Right.
The question is, can we make money off of it and keep ourselves in power?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's kind of creepy to think about. Because you're like, are we being played? I feel like we're being played.
Right.
And Stephen Greer might be the only one trying to tell us the truth.
Yeah, maybe he's for humanity, not just like America in that sense.
But that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. He's
right,
like,
right.
I just want to out it. You know what he said? And this logically makes sense to me. Because, like, one thing that I don't think we're going to have a world war. So, Stephen Greer's biggest fear, because they said it back in the day during, like, World War II times, or like, I forgot. Yeah, it's post World War II. The only thing that'll bring humanity together was an enemy from outer space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, what Lou has been saying a lot is like, don't fear, but we have to naturally think of it as like a threat. Because how do you identify threats? Capability and intent. We know their capabilities, but we don't know their intent. So we don't know if they're actually friendly or not. Right? And what Stephen Greer was saying is that they're going to try and manufacture an off-world incident where it's like they're trying to invade us. And then we're going to go into like a world war, like what was that? War of the Worlds type scenario, or like Independence Day, where we're going to battle against all these people from off worlds. I don't think that's going to happen. That makes no sense. Like, that's a lot of casualties. It's a lot of moving parts, et cetera, right? And I feel like people would just like listen to Stephen Greer. They'd be like, yeah, I don't think so. So Stephen Greer was saying the reason why these aliens won't attack us is the only way to become interstellar, like to the level of like building this technology, is to have a civilization that's capable of unifying in order to go off world. Because you need like collective agreement.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you're like us, who like we found a crashed UFO and then we reverse engineered it. But in order for all of us to move in the right direction, you need like a unified agreement of people. Like, we're going to work as one and like whatever, right? But he's saying that requires a level of consciousness akin to world peace. You would agree, right? Like, yeah, how else do you make everyone work together unless it's world peace?
Of course. Yeah.
Unless violence, but like...
No, but you're just gonna, even like, I don't even think with violence. I think, like, even if they do come, let's just say.
Yeah.
I think other people may take advantage of trying to just, well, we'll work with you. To take someone else out. Like another human.
Oh, yeah. Oh, facts. Yeah. That's true too. Yeah. That's true too. No, that's true too. I mean, that's another theory. Stephen Greer hasn't said this, but this is another theory. Okay, so there's a lawyer. This is so wild. You can check out Jesse Michaels. You're the best, bro. Like, the stuff you're doing, you're great. So there's a lawyer that is protecting both Lou Elizondo and Stephen Greer. And that lawyer has been in like situations, like he's been a part of all of the conspiracies, like JFK assassination, all that stuff. His name will keep coming up. He's the lawyer that manages all this stuff. Okay. Stephen Greer's lawyer and Lou Elizondo's lawyer. So I'm like, that's kind of confusing. What he said, that lawyer, I'm listening to another podcast right now, but on the Jesse Michaels one, is that there is a race of reptilians that is working with the US government already. And it's a battle between who's going to take over, these peace-loving aliens or these reptilians. Sounds crazy. I'm like, well, that's like too out of the realm. But I'm just saying, when he said that, I was like, that's kind of interesting. Mental note, pin it for now. We'll go back to that. But a lot of people have been saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No, I think that may make sense in the sense of as a metaphor. I feel like reptilian meaning like fear tactic, fear-minded.
Yes.
Right, versus angelic thoughts, or like, yes, like, being good.
Angel and demon. And demon.
Yeah.
And this goes back to Tom DeLonge's thing of him being like, we're all thinking about this as like aliens from outer space. But what this really is an interdimensional being trying to take over. So angels and demons are in our mind. Remember we talked about it? Demons are real.
Yeah.
So are angels, because it's like thoughts in your head, right? But what's a thought? It's the fourth dimension, time, temporal, right? So have these quote unquote interdimensional beings been able to warp into our reality through these crafts? Because what they're saying is like these crafts could potentially be just like dimensional crafts.
Right.
So like, is there a war going on right now? But it's not a 3D war. It's not physical. It's more of a mental war.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, wait. To go back to Stephen Greer's thing really quickly, just to finish that thought off. So he's like, you would require like a race that has like unified peace, right? So he's like, these off-world beings, and they use like a CE5 meditation app, right? In order to like call them forth. He's saying that they're all benevolent. They're not trying to really help us, but they're more like Star Trek. You're like, oh, that's cool. There are these things up there, right? And he's like, we would need to hit that level of universal agreement or utopic understanding in order to actually start to engage with these races.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense, right? Because they wouldn't want like a warring species just in their like galactic empire.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, how do we manage you? Like, you're gonna try and kill us, blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're waiting for us to become like globally utopic before they reveal themselves.
Okay.
Does that make sense to
Sure.
you? Or like, no, I mean like logically it made sense, but I'm like, do you buy into that? Or are you like, oh, I don't know. Because why would they, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe by revealing themselves, it'll cause us to go in that direction.
That's true too. That's true too.
So, I don't know.
Unless there are people that are like, hey, we could just take you out. Because here's the crazy part too. They found out that EMPs bring down these crafts.
Mm-hmm.
So they literally have these operations, and both sides have admitted this, Stephen Greer and Lou Elizondo, where they will like shoot an EMP at a craft and then down it. Like an off-world vehicle.
Yeah.
And what Stephen Greer was saying is like, they must be extremely benevolent to let this keep going, because if they could just destroy us at any second.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, if you have the technology to cross universes, and you could of course vaporize us, bro. But like, they must be super nice if they're allowing this to continue. But how long will they allow this to continue? You're literally just taking down their crafts.
Or it's part of us, or they're doing it deliberately to make us grow in technology.
Okay, that's another theory too, which is like, they think that they're seeding our civilization.
Mm-hmm.
These are like gifts.
Right.
They're not actually, which I think Tom DeLonge said that, which is like, these aren't like, you're not actually downing them, bro. Like, oh, that's cute. You think you're downing them.
Yeah. We're giving them to you.
Yeah. That's, and in order to move us in another direction. And some people speculate that this could just be like AI robotics from a different planet. And it's like, we're like,
but
naturally,
but it would be like, it would be expensive to keep losing them and making new ones, right? Even if it's robotic or whatever, right? So it's
no. But I know what you're saying, but I meant like the robots are going to take over us.
Okay.
The next stage of evolution is cyborgness. Like it's like they're actually they're not gifting us, they're seeding us.
Mm-hmm.
By giving us these technologies.
Sure. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Then they're bringing themselves to life on our planet.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what, Neuralink kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're going to become cyborgs, and then that's what a lot of people are saying too. Like when you go interstellar, you have to get rid of the physical body.
Yeah.
So these could literally be just technologies from like different planets,
mm-hmm.
like AI technologies. I don't know what I subscribe to. I just hear all the theories. I'm like, some of these are making sense to me. I'm like, which one's going to play out as the real thing? And like when you look into, so let's talk about interdimensional beings. So one thing that Tom DeLonge was saying too is like, we think we're alone in the universe, but the universe is teeming with life. We just can't see it all in the same spectrum, like infrared.
Sure.
We can't see infrared, but it's there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So literally, if there wasn't, like, that's kind of freaky to think about, but if there's like a person standing here in infrared, I cannot see them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if I had infrared goggles, I could see their heat signature.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Logical. So what he's saying is that a lot of these things like the Loch Ness Monster, the Bigfoot, the spirit world stuff, these are just interdimensional beings. They're just not from our plane, but they've somehow come into our 3D physical existence.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Like,
okay,
in the sense, not every single story of like a Loch Ness Monster would be in that sense.
Facts. That's true. But like when you read indigenous stuff and you're like, you're like, bro, what are you guys seeing? Because they're like, the spirit would come out of the rock. And I'm like, is that an allegory? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, they're like, it would come outside, and there was like a devil that was protecting the cliff. And I'm like, is that like a mental devil? Like, what are you guys trying to say here? Remember we said like lost in translation, but like,
So there
what are you
could be,
describing,
yeah, like talking
bro?
about that. I did want to bring that up, but I was going to bring that up after. Now you brought up Native Indians, but it could be lost in translation. They could be using words that make sense. So I was watching a show where a kid crossed into the
Astral projection.
like no, like the Mohawk area. This is like in the old times of America.
Okay, cool.
And he killed a fish in the sacred river,
Okay.
right? And then the natives caught him, and then they're like, "You killed a fish in our sacred river. You must now pay with your like the kid must pay with his blood." So
Okay.
that
Interesting.
if I use that phrase, like he has to pay with his blood, you think like killing him. That could be the first intention of understanding, because if you already view them as savages, but then when he did cut him, it was just a cut. He paid with his blood.
Oh, damn. I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, like blood brothers when people like cut their hands and they just like hold the hand
but
together.
pay
So
with
they're,
his
like,
blood can imply killing, or it's just a cut.
it could be like just
It's
small
just a
cut
cut,
and like, here's
and
my
then
blood. Bro, that's true. That is accurate. Yeah, that's accurate. Okay, what the heck is gonna happen on November 13th? Because they said that so the UFO hearing, the congressional hearing, they said there's gonna be some crazy information dropped because they have a lot of secret guests that are going to come up. So I feel like this quote unquote secret guests are going to be people that worked on these projects.
mm-hmm.
So like I said, it's like cats out the bag, bro. We have to admit that like UFOs are real and UAPs are real.
Right.
But like, where do we go from there?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for like a cyberpunk future type thing, but like, because the next question is where are they from? And then the question from that is like, if they're interdimensional beings, how many dimensions are there? There's so many questions that come out of this one thing. Because we really, up until this point, we're thinking like 3D reality. Yeah, it's like planets, like tangible physical reality is all we, like a reductionist science.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what science is built on, right? Physics,
Sure.
But now, if you are telling us that there are these UAP crafts and it's like, okay, where are they from? Okay, they're not actually from what do you call that? Like a distant planet. They're actually time travelers. Okay, so we can travel through time? Question mark. How
Mm-hmm.
does time work? Oh, they're actually from like the fourth dimension. Okay, so there's a fourth dimension. How does that work? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's really what's going to come out of this. The question of not what's going on, more like how big is our reality?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty scary. Because then you're like, how big is big, bro?
Right.
What do you think?
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
A bigger
but
reality. Yeah.
But wouldn't that like mind blow a lot of people?
Sure. Of course. Yeah.
Because like you're thinking, yeah, man, I just have to pray to God, and like,
It's not as simple as that. Yeah, I
and
know.
it's like, no, there's like
That was simple. Yeah.
that was simple, and then now you're like, wait, you're telling me that there's a time travel, but you know what's even crazier than that? So Tom DeLonge, he was saying that they're like, oh yeah, interdimensional beings, time travelers, uh, races from a different planet, and they're like, which one is it? He's like, could be all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're like, how big is big, bro? So we got extraterrestrial beings, we have time travelers, we have temporal reality, like different realities and dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is this universe? What is this life that we're living in? It's like scary but cool. You know what I mean? You're like,
Sure. Yeah. This is
it opens
unknown.
up so many.
It's unknown right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could see it being everything. I could see it being time travelers. Because when they said, like, you know how, like, the further you are from a planet, your time moves differently?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's relative to gravity. Time and gravity are one. So if you could create a device that is able to utilize gravity, you could technically time travel.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then also, what about the people that live on a distant planet? That makes sense to me too. So like, and then like different dimensions, because we're talking about angels and demons, but they're actually like thoughts that manifest in 3D reality. So it's like, it really could be all of it. And this is just too much for the brain to handle.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even for me, I'm like, bro, this could be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What time are we at?
An hour and 10.
Okay. I have something really related to this, but that caffeine kicked in. Just 1 second, 1 second. All right, back. So, okay. It's weird because you're kind of like, not you, but like if you're listening to this and you've never heard this before, you're like, dude, these guys are crazy. But for real though, right? It's
Sure.
like, but it's these are like logical things, just people don't think about them. Because I was just thinking about this, like, if like, because I'm probably gonna title this like U.S. 2024 election, something like that, something like innocuous, right? And then people who know of us and they're like, oh, I wonder what they said about the U.S. election. And they're like, dude, I'm listening about aliens right now. Dude, you guys are off the wagon. Like, you like totally messed up your brains. But it's like, if it's not true, then why are they holding a congressional hearing on it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't just like bring up these crazy things like for nothing. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, you don't just, not anybody just gets a congressional hearing on stuff. Unless they do. Maybe I'm lying. Do they, Vish?
I don't know enough about it to give you that answer.
Or well, the
Well,
mere
I
fact
think
that
isn't it more just like they have questions of what's going on here? Isn't it? And then they
yeah. So okay. And during the first one, they brought up legacy programs and how the legacy programs are like utilizing funds from the American government in order to like keep these beyond black projects going.
Yeah.
So that became a, what is it called, bipartisan? Not bipartisan issue. Basically, like both sides cared about it. It's
Yeah.
like you have like a left and right, right? So then when they heard that, they're like, wait, what's going on? And then this is a follow up to that where they want to hear about like, well, what do you know? How much money is being spent? Because you're taking taxpayer money, right? In order to like you create these programs. So like, we definitely know something's going on. UFOs are real. If you don't think they're real, like, you're so late to the party. So if you just take the logical next steps, that's why we're talking about like what's the next, what are the dimensions, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it sounds crazy, but if you actually logically go through the steps, it all makes total sense. Right? Okay, so here's my next question. I mean, it's been a question, but like with all of this here, where do we go when we die? Like, we know about the dimensions, we know about like extraterrestrials. Like, do you wake up and there's a video game? Because now it's like, is death another dimension?
Right. Sure. We don't know.
Is there a party where people, like, when you die and people are like, oh, you're gonna go to heaven, then there's like a party and everyone's gonna meet you and then blah blah blah. Like the Catholic belief, right? There is some credence to that. But what I was thinking about was like, that is all contained within the universe. Right? Like like everything we just described, like the different dimensions, the aliens from outer space, the time travelers, that's all within a universe. You can't go, there's nothing outside of the universe because the universe also includes the nothing. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? It's like,
yeah.
Are we conceptually are like, here's the universe. All right, what's outside of the universe? Like, that's a nonsensical answer. Because like,
no, I think we stay in
else,
the universe.
like, okay, yes, okay. We stay in the universe, right? Because everything is contained within the universe. That's like the Taoist philosophy. Yin yang, it's both in the Tao. Okay. And I think the Taoists have this correct. Okay, so what if, because all things must end, are we just like flowers? Like, what I mean by that is like, we come from the earth, we return back to the earth. The Native Americans, the indigenous people, they all said it. Right? And it's like, are we just these like flowers that blossom?
Sure. Right.
And we die out. Because think about this. It's like, okay, so we require everything that's on earth. Like, we try and say like, oh, we're better than God. We are God. Well, we technically are God because we are from the earth. But like, you know, when they say like we try and separate ourselves from nature.
But we need nature, no
But we
matter
need
what.
exactly, but we need nature
Everything that we live on is nature.
because we are nature,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what if really everything is just the universe playing out different scenarios in order to realize itself?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard this before, which is crazy. Like it's like the universe is more of like a data gathering system. So it plays out all of these myriads of like lives, like your life, my life, Athena's life, Tara's life, City's life. You know what I mean? It's like all these different iterations, and then it's from those perspectives in order to like data gather.
Mm-hmm.
Or not, I guess you don't have to say data gather. It's more like to realize itself. It's like, oh, that's what that would be like. Oh, that's what that would be like. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Sort of like, or like flowers. They just like happen. There's no like,
Sure.
there's no intention behind a flower. It just grows and dies, grows and dies, grows and dies. Right? So what if all of our lives, what if all of our interactions are these like momentary fleeting like floral moments? It's like, oh man, I'm really attached to Athena. She's gonna die one day. But the beauty was that the universe made that happen and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Made that happen and it's gone. It's like those mandalas where like you create that beautiful masterpiece and you blow it away, or like a sand castle near the water. You build a
Yeah.
castle and the water takes it away. And it's like, although we are sad that it must go, it's really not going anywhere. It's like,
Mm.
oh, when Athena dies, I'll be so sad. But it's like, but she didn't really go anywhere. And there was no real interaction. That was all just like a dance in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But when you look at life like that, it's crazy too, because you're like, bro, what?
That's the only way that things have meaning, though. Things have to be gone to have meaning.
Exactly. Because without their destruction, without the end, we just become complacent to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the sun will rise forever. Okay, the sun's gonna burn out tomorrow. Oh, dude, appreciate the sun while it's here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that is what the universe is doing for itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the only way the universe can experience beauty, the only way the universe can experience anything is through us. We are literally the universe realizing itself and appreciating itself. But it's just the universe, bro. It's like me making a painting. I'm like, that's a dope painting. All right, cool, we're done. Oh, that's a dope painting. Or like the Young Yodas. Every single day, it's just another quote that I'm like, oh, that's a cool quote. All right, cool. And I don't even think about it. You know, it's just like you're just making. Like we are echoes of creation creating, because creation is like the highest form of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the highest form of anything. And the universe is literally just creating these moments and letting them go. Creating these moments, letting them go.
Right.
Logically speaking, like people are like, oh my god, that's so spiritual and amazing. Like you're like a little Buddha. And it's like, no, it's just logic. If you think hard enough about it, it's like, because where do we come from? The earth. Okay. What happens when we die? We're not here anymore. Okay. What does that mean about our interactions? That they were fleeting. Okay. Then like, what is consciousness? Is the universe becoming awake? Okay. Why would it do this? You know what I'm saying? Like when you follow the thought process, the only thing that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, the universe is just making these little beautiful moments.
Right.
So that it can appreciate the beautiful moment.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree? Or would you expand on that? Like what is?
I mean, we're trying to put meaning to these things, right?
No. Like I'm looking at binary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting any meaning. I'm just like, why? Like, yes, no. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. What's the next question after that? Yes, no. Correct. It's like a flow pattern. It's like a yes, no system. I don't know how to explain it, but like, I'm just like following down a path. I'm not trying to put meaning towards it. I'm just like, why would it do this? Does it make sense? Yes or no? Okay. Well, then why would it do this? Does it make sense? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just logically moving down through like Occam's razor to explain our experience. Because of why do we exist?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's like saying, why does a flower exist? It just does exist.
Mm-hmm.
But then what are the functions of a flower? Why does flowers pollinate? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you look at us not anthropomorphically, we look at us like an organism. It's like, why does that organism have consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So like To me, that's what I'm doing. I'm not trying to put a narrative to it. I'm just like, why else would we have consciousness? Why else would things die? Why else would we grow attachments?
Sure. Right.
Right? So what do you think?
I understand what you're saying.
It just is a beautiful painting, bro, and that's it. It's like it's not like it's like you want to call it beautiful, you can. You want to call it ugly, you can. It's just a
right.
thing that happens, and then people just interact and then they don't interact. We interact, we don't interact. We're here, then we're gone. We're here, then we're gone.
Yeah.
You know? And then we're here because somebody else was here, and
Yeah.
And because like if you think about it, it's like if everyone died on this earth, then what was the point? Exactly. There was no point, bro. It was just a little spark that faded. You'd agree?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it happened to the dinosaurs.
Exactly, bro. Like there is no narrative behind the death. They were just here. That's it. Period. They were just here, and they're gone now. Just like we're here and we'll be gone now. So then what? Okay, with that, now that we've agreed that it's just these things that are happening. Okay, why would you not want to maximize the like? If you think about it in that way, it's like, of course, I'd want to do everything. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm literally the universe able to experience itself. I would want to try everything.
Yeah.
But when you think of yourself in God mode like that, this is like God mode mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, you realize that your life is the video game, bro. And it's like, we're all playing it out. So why not just have fun, bro?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, do you see the post with your brother? The rock. Hey, shout out Ravi, because I know you're listening to this one right now. You know the post with your brother? You saw the rock climbing shoes?
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. So I had just been going. I was like, oh, dude, this is cool for me. And like, you could sell somebody on like, oh, you just need to be more fit. You just need more healthy. I don't care about all that, bro. Do you like doing it? I do. All right, cool. Do you want to keep doing it? Yeah, cool. That's all that matters, bro. Like, I don't care if you're healthy, but I'm like, like, oh, you're looking stronger. Oh, you're able to do these things. But like, at the end of the day, your body's going to fail. You're going to die. But you liked doing that thing. So let's just all keep doing that thing.
Yeah.
And like there are these pockets of like where you don't have to think about anything except for that thing. And I found that through like it's Miyamoto Musashi. If you know the way, you know the way broadly, something like that. So like jujitsu, shooting, video games, anime, climbing, I feel the exact same sensation in those things. I feel the exact same sensation across all of those things. So why not just maximize that sensation?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's literally just the universe. Like, okay, universe, you're through me. Or you could say like, hey, God, you're living through me, whatever, whatever Catholic belief you want. But you don't try to say it's like, I am literally a manifestation of the universe getting to play out anything I want. Why don't I just maximize the things that I like to do? And then the flip side of that is when you see people that don't do that and you're like, that is the saddest. I would never want that experience. And it's just like, but if you knew what we just explained, of course you'd want to maximize it.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
No, bro, you are the universe. Go do whatever you want to do. It's fun. Like, just go find fun. No, man, because like reality kicks in. Gotta pay these bills, bro. But like bills are not real, bro. Like it's you're gonna die for what? For like a figment of imagination? It's like I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree with everything that you're saying.
Right?
But I like people's realities. Yeah, not practicality. No. It's just
that's the real psyop, though. I know what you're gonna say.
What?
Like it's like not everyone can have this.
Not everyone.
Like it's like, well, yeah, but you have to pay. Like, I mean, you're born in Africa and you're a starving child. And like,
I'm not saying like that. I think you're limited to what your access to right there, right? Depending on where you're at. Yeah.
You are limited, but that's the ultimate psyop. The ultimate psyop is making you believe that you're not God. But we are God, bro. Like, not actually, like, not God, like, not trying to make this religious, but like, we are in God mode. And then yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that it's limited in that sense. Your mind isn't when it doesn't know about the freedom of experience, like that freedom. If you've never experienced it, then that's what I'm saying is
And
where you're
that's the
stuck.
psyop because
Yeah.
nobody taught you, bro. And here's the craziest thing. All right, we were all like that. So like, I think it's Carl Jung who brought this up, but you start off not knowing anything,
Mm-hmm.
or like you're like a kid. Oh, it's a Garden of Eden. So you think everything's amazing because you're a kid, and then you're kicked out of the Garden of Eden. God's like, hey, bills. But you can always return back to the Garden of Eden
Mm-hmm.
once you realize that you were in the garden the whole time. And that's like is it Jordan Peterson? But it's like you have to make that loop. We all start off pure. Every single person we know, we're like, hey man, oh, it's a crazy world. It's a crazy. It's like seeing the world not through childish eyes, but childlike eyes.
Mm-hmm.
When you go from childish, which is like you just got born in the Garden of Eden, and God kicks you out of the Garden of Eden because why? You ate the apple of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
right? From the devil. Oh, I need to understand these bills. Oh God, this is how the world works. Oh man, we're being psyoped by Stephen Greer and like Lou Elizondo, blah, 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 right? You eat the apple from the devil to gain knowledge, and you're kicked out of the Garden of Eden. How do you return back to the Garden of Eden? You have to view the world through childlike eyes, not
Mm-hmm.
childish eyes. You've come back spiritually evolved.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to do that, you have to do your seeking. That's why like Jesus went on like a pilgrimage. That's why Buddha went on a friggin' pilgrimage. Everybody has to go through a spiritual pilgrimage in order to realize these things. How many books did I read, bro?
Mm-hmm.
How many documentaries have you seen?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we have to do the work in order to return back to the garden
Sure.
and
Yeah.
realize that we haven't left the garden, bro.
Right. But that was all knowledge.
It was all knowledge, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the whole part about the psyop. Elon Musk lying to us, that's knowledge, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're talking about this, it's just a game. You just return back to the Garden of Eden. But it's like, it's not, you can't stay in that state because you always have to like learn things and then like be like, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, but I'm still playing the game. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like, what I mean about we haven't left the garden is like, I'm still in this apartment, bro. I'm still in this physical body. Nothing has changed except for my perspective
Mm-hmm.
on
Yeah.
how things have played out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where we're going with that.
I think no, you're right. But I think that's all part of learning, experiencing.
Yeah.
This should never stop. This should always be going on. Yes, I agree with that.
Right. And how many people have just stopped, bro? And what's crazy
and become stagnant. Yeah. Once you stop, you stop growing. You've become stagnant. You're stuck.
Bro. And you're like, just do the thing that you like, bro. And it's so simple. You're just like, hey, I want to do this. Go do it then, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want to read this book. All right, read the book, bro. It's like, but then they're like, you see the mental wall, and it's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I want to do this. All right, so go do it. Oh, but then I'd have to give up being lazy or like, something like,
mm-hmm.
or like, must be nice for you.
Mm-hmm.
Have all that free time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's just
when I hear that, I'm like, oh, you're
trying to push
wall, bro.
blame. Yeah. Trying to push blame on something else. The blame is really on you, not me.
Thank you, bro. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. It's like, dude, that wasn't me. That was you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, must be nice.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's nice for you too. You're just not doing it, bro.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And like, this is the thing that my sister always says, and I'm like, 100% agree. Decisions were made. We also make decisions. It's like, but you got yourself there. So it's like, just reverse engineer the decision, get yourself out of that mess. It's not, there are certain, we talked about this on the podcast, like there are certain points of no return. There are certain points of no return.
I mean, yes, societally. Okay, yeah.
What we're doing, bro. Like, how are you going to come back? You're done. I mean, like, you could become a monk in a monastery, sure. But like, well, maybe he could just like, no, there's no, I don't know. There's certain things where like you can't come back. I'll admit that.
Maybe, yeah, we'll see.
But you don't try to say it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it's like, bro, you just don't realize that we're in this game, and it's so easy. It's just like, what do you like to do? Go do that. That's it.
Mm.
And then imagine your whole life was just doing things that you like to do. By the time you're dying, it's like my biggest fear, truly. No, a lot of big fears, but like the loneliness thing we talked about. But like one thing that I would never want to go through is like being on your deathbed and be like, I have so many regrets.
Mm-hmm.
That would be brutal. Imagine like it's like we live our entire life preparing to die. You heard that quote before, right?
Yeah.
But the whole concept is like because on our deathbed there's no going back. That's it. The game's
Mm-hmm.
done, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, did you waste your time or not?
Yeah.
I will not. I refuse to be like I wasted my time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thoughts on that?
No, we're not. Agreed.
You're right.
Yeah.
Freaking crazy, right? People just need to listen to that and be like, oh, come on, man. Just do it. Just do it, bro. Okay. Last thing, speaking of mind, I'm wondering, because I do this a lot, and I'm just wondering if it's a real thing or that other people have done. But like, I noticed this in 2016 where we were, okay, this is gonna sound crazy, but like, so one thing I've always wanted to do before I died is travel the world.
Mm-hmm.
I do you remember that as like a kid? I was like, dude, it'd be so crazy to see like the Vatican or like blah blah blah, right? And then when Tara and I were traveling, and then we were faced with this choice where it was like we had just like X amount of money left, and then the choice was prolong it as long as possible and just live in one place, or blow it all as fast as we can on hitting up all the cool spots that we've always wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
So we went with the blow it all on the cool spots, and then like for me, I just don't know what else to do because I'm like I did the thing that I really wanted to do. Everything else kind of icing on the cake. Like technically I should die now, but okay. So in that moment, I remember we were in the Philippines, and it was the first time I ever did it. My Tara was in the room because she was like, "It's too hot. I'm just gonna be with AC." My family that was there had gone to church, so it was just me, and I was like, "I'm gonna do one last swim before we leave because we were leaving the next day to go to another country." And I stood in the do you remember it? My grandma's place, right?
Yeah.
The second floor, and then there's the balcony there. It does not look like that anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
remember it was like second floor balcony. So I literally did like a scan of the entire place. I'm like, cement this in your mind, don't let this leave. And I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but like try and cement it. And I did like kind of like a little digital scan. And now I can go back to that exact memory, and I can almost walk through the whole house
Mm-hmm.
at any time now. And then when we were leaving Mexico, that was like the best trip ever. I spent like 45 minutes in the shower, and I was doing the exact same thing. I was like, cement this in your mind. And right now, I can jump back into that space.
Mm-hmm.
Like perfectly, everything's exactly where it is. I can like almost play in that space, you know? This sounds crazy. And I've done that before, like I was like hanging out with Athena and Tara watching a show. I can jump back into that space. But like, what is that? Like, do you do that? I've heard people talk about a mind palace where it's like they build like those people that can remember like long strings of information. They build something called a mind palace where it's like you build a house and then like these things trigger certain memories so that you can like remember a long string of data.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, is that what it is? Like, have you ever done that? Like what I'm describing?
No, not that I recall.
Okay. But now that because like you've never wanted to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's no need. But I'm like, I can do this. Like it's almost like I can lucid dream back in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, what other powers do we have? Because that is a weird power that like I didn't know existed until I started practicing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like like you don't want moments to end. So it's like, okay, it won't end. Just like save it. Like literally save on your memory card.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like and just
Yeah.
jump back to the video game that way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as an analogy. And it's like, how many other things can we do with our mind that we have no idea about?
I wonder if a lot of that stuff has been lost because we have now pictures, and you know what I mean, like where we're not training the mind to do that anymore.
Dude, exactly. Because you know what's crazy? I can't jump. So if you're like, Tara's like, do you remember that time? I'm like, nope. Unless I had forced myself to save it as like a memory, like I tell you, like I could already see it. I'm like, boom, there it is, there it is, there it is. I'm walking through it. I can go downstairs, check that out, see the puppies. Like it's perfect in my mind. But if you ask me like, what did we do when you and I went to the fan expo? I don't like it's like blips. It's like I remember we played a game there. I'm like, because you're not consciously trying to save the memory. Right? So it's like you said,
I think for me it's more the emotion.
But that's another thing. That's another facet of it, though.
Yeah.
That's a different facet. I'm doing
because I think for me it was always Hawaii. The emotion that I got from Hawaii is what always stuck with me. Remember, that's why I wanted. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like going back, it was exactly what I remembered. Like this is why I like Hawaii. Like going back.
Feeling.
Yeah, the feeling. Yeah.
But you don't remember the thing.
I remember bits of it because I enjoyed everything. So like I kept it there, right?
But you didn't practice saving it.
No, I didn't practice like saving it. But I know right. I just knew that like, I had kept the feeling of it.
Yeah.
That's the only place that I've been to that I always call.
Yeah, you love Hawaii, bro. You're gonna like live
it's so many things. Yeah, it's the culture. It's America, but not America. It's like there's so many things of it that that I found that fits for me. So.
Yeah, like remember you wanted to work on the pineapple farm? You're like, I'm gonna look for a job on a pineapple. I was like, what? All right. but that's another that's a different facet than what I'm talking about. It's like, but what is that then? You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, what are these like? I read a book once. I think it's called Matrix 2.0. It wasn't actually about the Matrix. It kind of was. It's like using it as an allegory. They don't sell the book anymore. But like, what it was saying is like the opening part of the book was like so much is lost from what we used to be able to do. Right. And then when you read like ancient texts like the Emerald Tablets, they talk about time travel. And I'm like, is what I'm doing time travel? Right. You know what I mean? Like, is that what you meant by time travel? Because like we were talking about like what do these things actually mean? So like,
I mean, like once we can tap into your mind and actually regenerate that real visual that I can jump into, that's
like VR.
Yeah.
Right? But like instead of VR, it's like mental VR, bro.
Yeah. And then I can probably feel the exact feeling you were feeling. Like there's so many things that could go on. I mean, like, technology, again, as I said, like, the photos may have mitigated us from doing that, but then also technology in the future could make us go back into that and figure out, like, how do we actually store that image.
But you know what's funny about that? Like
store the experience.
Yeah. But it's funny because like when you think it was before, like I didn't even know what VR was, but like you map the room with your VR headset, like when you're like PS4 and then mapping the room. That's kind of what it was. That's what I was doing. I was like, I did like a 360 walk. Like I just like turned in 360 and I was like, okay, remember this. I was almost like trying to force myself to remember it.
Yeah.
But it's like, technically that's like saving on a VR headset. Like, I was like saving the landscape.
Yeah.
Before VR was thing, because it was like 2016, like we had never heard about like the VR headsets and stuff. But like how far I'm just excited to see like what are these dimensions? How far can we push the mind? Like I feel like we're on the precipice of a renaissance or something. Like we're about to enter a whole different age. Here's a better example. You know how when we went from like there's a show they're watching called Southern Charm, and the person's dad grew up during the Great Depression, but he's still alive. So I was like, dude, what is your reality that you went from like Great Depression to now? I saw everything change like crazy. And like the world that you knew is totally different than the world you know now,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's why, like, Dad, you can't say that. That was like an old thing, you know? And I feel like we are entering into that zone now. Like, if our parents were having conversations like we're having,
Mm-hmm.
they would be like, can you believe they invented this phone? Can you believe they invented this internet? Like, I'm just perfect example. Gen Z lingo.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I hear, like everyone's making fun of Gen Zs. Okay. Um, like in my professional world, my personal world, everyone's like, I don't know what these Gen Zs are saying. I'm like, bro, you make yourself sound so old when you're doing that. And they're, you know what I'm saying?
Sure, but it's like every
Like,
generation's been saying that. But...
you're the only person that has said that to me. You're so funny. Thank you. I literally said that to somebody because they're like making fun of Gen Zs,
Right.
and then to this other person, like I was watching this conversation, and then to this other person, I was like, isn't it funny how every generation thinks the other generation's dumb?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, I never thought of it like that. I'm like, we use words like cool, sick, dope,
Yeah.
right? And then like our parents are like, what the hell was a cool, sick, dope, bro?
For sure. Yeah.
But it's like, but every generation's been doing that. You and I are just seeing the beautiful game that's being played, which is like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's a new word. Like I'm just adding it to my lexicon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you know who also does this and doesn't make fun of them? Kendrick Lamar, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Let him cook. Let him
Yeah.
cook.
Yeah.
That's a Gen Z term. And people are like, oh, what cook what? Cook food? Like, no, bro. Like, come on, don't be
It's actually kind
bad.
of cool though. I do like
It is
the
cool. I
cook.
do like that one too. Let him cook, bro. Like there are certain words
Or
like
like let me land. Let me land.
oh, I
Like
don't know that I've never heard
oh
that
like
one.
land the point.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah, let me land, bro. Let me land. That's sick, bro. See, like you're just making it like we don't need to make these people feel ostracized. It's just like that's a sick new word, like dope new word, like
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm expanding my lexicon, and then people are like, "Hey, what was the skibbity? The one that everyone talks about is skibbity. Like, oh,
Okay.
skibbity, bro.
What's
Or
that?
like they don't say bro, but like skibbity. So I had to Google. So people were like, "Can you use skibbity in a sentence?" I'm like, "Oh, you guys are so annoying, bro." Okay, just Google what does skibbity mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to like ostracize.
Sure.
Anyways, so like I Googled skibbity. Okay, and they said skibbity is a placeholder word that can mean anything. So positive or negative. It's an affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So like you slip, oh, skibbity, bro. Or like you land a dunk, you're like, oh, skibbity. I would never use the word skibbity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds weird.
Yeah.
But if you're in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, the equivalent of that is poha.
Mm-hmm.
So poha means like the F word.
Okay.
But we actually, wait, hold on. We use that word all the time. Fuck,
Sure.
bro, fuck. So what does fuck mean? It can mean anything.
Right.
Skibbity, right? It's the exact same thing. So why are you making it feel bad? But in jujitsu, it's like poha.
Mm-hmm.
That could like do you see the tone? It's like, oh, that's dope. Like poha.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're an idiot.
Right.
So like we're literally doing the same thing. It's just the word just switched. You don't need to make these people feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Why feel bad? No?
And then because this is going around TikTok, and I'm like, guys, let's not make this one. But like you can think that's cool. So they're like, I love these videos where they get old people to let a Gen Z person write their. Have you seen this on TikTok? Where it's like a Gen Z person will write the lingo for an old person in a marketing
No, I
campaign.
haven't seen that.
So it'll be like, it'll be like an old man and being like, so today the person skibbity went to, and they're
Right.
like,
Right.
or like, they must let the person land, or like,
Yeah.
let
Okay.
that person cook. And you're like, you look so dumb. You're trying to make yourself above the thing by being like, look at me, just use your lingo and act like I'm so old that I don't understand what you're saying. It's like, bro, that was us, bro.
Right. Yeah.
The irony is lost on so many people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just let me land on this, bro. I got this point.
Yeah.
But like, what I'm
Yeah.
saying. We're like,
No.
yeah.
I don't. There are some cool phrases, but I think that people should realize that
phrases.
every generation has that.
But you know what? It's just like the video game thing. People are gonna listen to this and be like, "These people are off their friggin' rocker, bro." But the people that understand will be like, "That makes sense."
Mhm.
They We're letting them cook, and they're landing their point.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's it. That's all I got. Skibbity, bro. No, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It's an interesting world.
it is an interesting world. Any final thoughts?
Mm.
Any final thoughts you want to land?
No. Still in the air.
just use it however you want, bro. Like it's pretty dope. I like that actually. Let him land.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Till next week, we're gonna take off on these points, and we're gonna hopefully land them next week.
Yeah.
As we build the Skibbity podcast.
Mm-hmm. I never heard Skibbity though, but
yeah, that's the one everyone's making fun of people for. So dumb.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Till next week, Titties Fish.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Fish.
Peace.